Good morning, everybody. We're on our 62nd segment of the Think Before You Speak series, the laws of Shemriat Halashon with clarity. Bezat Hashem, maybe with a few stories. Leilun Nishmat, the great Chafetz Chaim, Zechet Tzadik Lebracha, Leilun Nishmat Luza Aliza, but Henriette and her children that passed with her in the fire. Ruach Hashem Tenichena Migan Eden. Should also be a great zechut for Rufu'ah Shalema, for all those in Klal Yisrael who need a tremendous Yeshuah, Rufu'ah Shalema. Should be a great zichut, these halachot, for our B'nai Chabura that sit and learn every morning from 9 to 11. Unbelievable. Hashem should bless them with B'nai Chayim Zonei Reviche. And these halachot should be a special zichut for Shmira Ba'al Yemen HaShamayim and Hatzlacha Gdola Mazal Siyata Deshmaya for Chaim Davidov Chaisar. The title for today's halachot is Stoking the Fires. Now this is a very big chidush, but it's very common as well. We're talking about rechilut. Rechilut means not to say something to one person which will cause that person feelings of animosity and hatred to somebody else. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go to this very common and typical story. You have two guys in shul, and these two guys are business partners. And it turns out that something happened in business that caused a fight between the two partners. You know, they hit on a terrible loss. Each guy blamed the other guy. It was his fault. It was his fault. And it was such a devastating loss to the business that it actually split up the partnership. So now the partnership is broken and there's a lot of hard feelings. And from that day on, these two partners, Reuven and Shimon, have nothing nice to say about each other. And not only that, but they don't hide it either. So anytime these two guys are in shul together, ex-partners, hating each other, they'll be really bad-mouthing the other guy behind his back constantly in front of the entire shul at any opportunity they can get. Now, at that point, I want you to imagine that Reuven's nephew walks up to him one day and says to him, today in shul, Shimon, boy, did he badmouth you. Boy, did he get up and say stuff about you and the years that he worked with you. It was terrible. Now, at that moment, you ask yourself, is this nephew of Reuven chayav? Did he transgress rechilut because he told Reuven about what Shimon said about him and how he badmouthed him? At the end of the day, Reuven knows that Shimon is always badmouthing him. And Reuven returns the favor. He's always badmouthing Shimon. So by this boy telling him what happened that day in shul, he didn't make any more the animosity that Reuven has to Shimon, because this is what's been going on for all in some time. All he basically did was stoke the fire of the flame of hatred that already existed between these two partners. And yet, the halacha still says that that's rechilut b'chol zot. And still he's chayav, and he transgressed the avera of rechilut, even though he only added to the fire of the already in place hatred between these two people who hated each other before what you said, but now it kept it going. So rechilut is still prohibited in spite of the fact that these two guys already hated each other before you said what you said to bring forward the hatred further. So let's get the halacha with clarity. Rechilut is forbidden even if the listener and the person you're talking about already were bitter enemies before you told them the bad that they spoke about them. It's amazing. You say to yourself, what did I do? What did I do? These two guys hated each other way before I came along. What did I do? What did you do? You had an opportunity to put a fire out, and instead you added another log to the fire. Borei Olam looks at you and says, what are you doing? I'm crying over these two guys every day. waiting for somebody, some hero, some fireman to come and put out the fire. and instead you added to it?